What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, another interesting video for this on this channel, which I'm trying not to sneeze. Hopefully, I don't. I don't. 3. If I do, then Drake May's gonna win MVP. I didn't. Wait, if I do, I said, damn, he's not gonna win MVP. Sorry to all the Patriots fans. Anyways, my 2026 NFL award predictions today. I've done this for 2 years now. I need to look back at the videos I did. Maybe that's a video idea where I look back and react to all the videos I did. I think I did somewhat of a reaction, but not a full reaction. But I do have to say that I've done this for 3 years now. I give my MVP, my runner-up, and my dark horse. My MVP and runner-up are two people that I consider to be MVP candidates. My dark horse is usually an actual dark horse or the third candidate in some awards. You're going to see that today. Let's get started because I think it could be a longer video. For my MVP, we're going to start off with the big one. I really debated on this one. It may be, and I do have to say this, I feel like anytime I do pick an award for somebody, they get jinxed and they don't win it. I think you can look at it for past type of predictions. There was some that was probably correct, not a lot. MVP, though, is going to be winner, Lamar Jackson. So I don't think they gave Lamar the MVP last season because obviously they wanted a new winner in Josh Allen. It was very close. But I really do believe that Josh Allen had an MVP season, Lamar Jackson had an MVP season, and I think this year Lamar Jackson can replicate it. He has a better defense in my opinion, slightly better offense, not entirely better offense, but I think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson will be high up there for a potential winner. But I have Lamar Jackson here. Now, Josh Allen isn't my runner-up because I honestly think there's a good chance he does win it. Maybe don't want to jinx him a little bit. Which, also, I need to say, I have a Bengals helmet here. I'm not a Bengals fan at all. It's a signed Joe Burrow helmet. Talking about Joe Burrow. That's going to be my runner-up. Now, I was going to debate and put him on a dark horse, but I like someone else as a dark horse. And no, it's not Jaden Daniels, even though that was actually going to be my dark horse before I started thinking heavily into it. My runner-up is Joe Burrow because, honestly, the offense is insane. I just could really see this team offensively be cracked out of their mind. Does the defense do anything better? We'll see. I honestly think that they had to learn something from last year. That's why they got Shamar Stewart, who already started to look decent in training camp, even though he held out for so long. I would imagine that something changes this year. And if it doesn't, we're going to see change mid-season, to be honest with you. But I do believe Joe Burrow will be the runner-up, or at least top 3 in the MVP candidate race. And my dark horse is going to be Justin Herbert. I think if Justin Herbert would ever win an MVP, this would be the season, because I think he now has a better O-line, even though Rashad Slater actually just got injured, which does suck, to be honest with you. Which I made this before Rashad Slater got injured, which does suck, to be honest with you. I think he has better weapons this year than last year. I think it's a second-year head coach. I think the defense is nice. I think Justin Herbert, if he somehow goes AFC West and beats out the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos, he deserves to be at least a candidate. And I have him here as a dark horse potential MVP. Up next, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, there's a lot of good offensive rookies. I'm better at knowing the offense than the defense, to be honest with you, in the NFL. I'm just an open guy when it comes to stuff like that. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going on a swing, and I'm saying the winner is going to be Cam Ward. Now, I might say swing because a lot of people think it's going to be Ashton Genty, which you're going to see in a second why I'm saying a swing. Cam Ward's my winner because I think ultimately QBs get awards more and have a better chance in the NFL. I think he's on a team that needs him to compete right away. He's on a veteran team where there's a lot of vets around him, and him as a young guy will have those vets around him. Older rookie too. I think Cam Ward will do decent for the Titans. I don't expect him to go to playoffs, but I think for Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, he'll be up here. I also believe Amarian Hampton will be up here. Now, you don't see Ashton Genty. I think Ashton Genty will be fine. I know the preseason game was bad, but I don't think there's any indicator of what's going to happen this season. I would put Ashton Genty here as runner-up. Him and Amarian Hampton were pretty tied to me, but I want to make a bold statement with Amarian Hampton. He has a better line. He has a run-first head coach. He has just the tools around him to be very, very successful in the NFL. And I can see him now, if Najee Harris being injured, a real threat and be the RB1 and really lead this Chargers team with Justin Herbert there as well. Dark horse, Ted McMillan. Now, I was thinking wide receiver wise, I wanted to put a dark horse. I actually debated on putting like Jackson Dart, but I think he will be coming in too late. Tyler Shuck will be not as good for the Saints. Who was somebody else I was debating on? It was a wide receiver. It wasn't Ibuka. I'm forgetting. I'm really forgetting. Dark horse. So I think McMillan will do good for the Panthers. There's also been already some preseason hype for him. I think on this team, they're going to have to rely on this offensive threat in McMillan. So I'm going to assume McMillan will be a good wide receiver for the Panthers, because if they don't rely on him, this team is not going to do good at all. And I think he's the type of wide receiver that the Panthers need the most. Up next, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I got to be honest with you. You're going to see this. I'm kind of just going to go through this real quick. Abdul Carter, he looks like a dog already for the Giants. He's already beaten out Giants in the training camp. I would assume he's going to win this because I think they're going to rely on him heavy to make a real big, crazy defensive line for the Giants. So he's going to be my winner. My runner-up, though, is going to be Mykel Williams. I just have liked Mykel Williams coming out of the draft. I think the 49ers really need to boost that defense a little bit more because last year wasn't as great as you would hope. But runner-up, of course. And then my dark horse is Jalen Walker. Now, you might wonder, why is the 3 top defensive picks your defensive rookie of the year? And it's honestly because I don't really see anybody else immediately getting that crazy impact. I was thinking maybe James Pierce Jr. because they traded a first-round pick for him and he could really be something for the Falcons, but decided not to. I have to be honest with you, other than Abdul Carter, who's my heavy favorite, everyone else is probably tied for a runner-up. I just think Abdul Carter is going to show out this year and is going to show why he's a defensive rookie of the year, and he's going to be a great Giants lineman. Or edge rusher. I almost said lineman. Defensive player of the year, though, let's go back. I think winner will be TJ Watt. Signed an extension, and I believe TJ Watt with the Steelers regimen will still be great. I think also the reason why I have him as a winner is because I ultimately believe the people around him won't win because of certain factors. So there you go. A runner-up for me, Max Crosby. I think Max Crosby with a new head coach in Pete Carroll will be relied on heavily in the defensive sets. I think last year there was a potential for him maybe to win, and then there was a little bit of a fall-off if I'm remembering correctly. So I think Max Crosby could be a candidate to win Defensive Player of the Year, but I think honestly TJ Watt probably has some more, and TJ Watt's just a little bit more certified. But my dark horse and my almost runner-up, I almost decided, but it's Jared Verse. I think the Rams are going to heavily do great this year and heavily lean on the rookies from last year. And Jared Verse is one of the first that they will lean on. I think Jared Verse is very athletic, very great as an edge rusher. He proved himself well when it came to late in the season. He proved himself well when it came to, what's it called? Not late in the season. Again, I almost said that. Playoffs. And I think Jared Verse is a really good dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year. Now, I do have to admit, like I said before, I'm more heavily knowledgeable in offensive players more than defensive. I think I am somewhat knowledgeable, like decently knowledgeable in Defensive Player of the Years. But Offensive Player of the Years, I can go crazy. I have Jamar Chase winning because I think if even he has a slightly, and I mean slightly lower season than what he had, then he will still win Offensive Player of the Year. Unless Saquon Barkley goes insane again, which I'm assuming he's not going to this year. I have to be honest with you. So I have Jamar Chase here. It's also because I think the Bengals will be a little bit more open with you have Higgins, you have Chase Brown now back in the mix. I think Chase will be great, and I think Joe Burrow is going to obviously go to him a lot. My runner-up for me is Bijan Robinson. I think the Falcons are going to heavily lean on Bijan Robinson. There's already been some rumors already talking about that, and I think for the Falcons, they saw last year leaning on Bijan really helped them and really was staying competitive. Sometimes, with the quarterback situation went a little weird, but I do believe that this year is going to be them fully leaning on Bijan Robinson. And my dark horse here is going to be Nico Collins. Now, I want to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. I actually almost debated on putting Jahmyr Gibbs here. I still think with David Montgomery there, it's going to hold him just a little bit. But Nico Collins is someone that I keep looking at this Texans offense, having to fire their OC, having to really develop this offense again. And I wonder with Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel coming in, do the Texans really lean on Nico Collins and CJ Stroud's connection? I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to go down. We've seen connections with wide receivers that have shot them up in Offensive Player of the Years. And I think if Nico Collins can stay healthy, he's a good dark horse to maybe have an insane, and I mean insane, wide receiver season. Up next is Coach of the Year. I have winner Ben Johnson because I think the Bears have not done well at all these past seasons. They have all the weapons. They have a pretty decent defense. I think, to be honest with you, if they somehow don't become a positive team like 9-8, it's a little sad to see that. I think, honestly, Ben Johnson is one of the best offensive coordinated minds in the NFL, and I think going to this team is the perfect fit. Runner-up for me is going to be Pete Carroll. Now, I don't 100% believe that the Raiders are going to do well, but with Pete Carroll with a whole new regimen and a whole new team, I have to admit that more than likely, Pete Carroll probably gets somewhat of a Coach of the Year thing if they go 11 and something, because think of them last year to this. I have to be honest with you, Pete Carroll's a really good head coach, and I think he is a Coach of the Year candidate by far. And my dark horse is going to be Liam Cohen. Now, I don't believe in the Jags, but I think that division is very open if the Texans don't do well. If they win the division, he should be a Coach of the Year candidate. So I throw him in here, but really I would say Ben Johnson's my winner, and I have two runner-ups here. Comeback Player of the Year. This is really a tie between the three. Aiden Hutchinson broke his leg. I think he's going to be destructive. Debated on putting him as Defensive Player of the Year. Chose not to. I still think he'll do really good to be Comeback Player of the Year. Runner-up for me is going to be J.J. McCarthy. Has all the reps in the world. Has a really good situation. I would assume he succeeds. If he doesn't, then obviously he's not going to. But if he succeeds, he could easily win it. And then my dark horse is going to be Dak. I think Dak could really succeed at the Cowboys, but I still am not on the Dak train 100%. And I really have to be honest with you that I think Dak Prescott more than likely will not do as well for the Cowboys and not really become a Comeback Player of the Year. But I still want to mention it to this because I'm kind of doubting the Cowboys a lot this year. And new award this year, Protector of the Year. Didn't really expect to call this one out. Winner for me is going to be Penei Sewell, one of the best O-linemen in the NFL. Just like him. I think he'll be a great protector. And I think for a Jared Goff kind of QB will be nice. Runner-up, we have Lane Johnson, who now with the injury, it's going to have to be leaned on a little bit more. So shout out Lane, and I think obviously with the Eagles it'll be good. My dark horse and who I honestly want to win is Creed Humphrey. I think Creed Humphrey is the best guard and best center in the league, and I think he deserves all the praise he gets. So, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.